Coming up tonight on Newswatch, authorities are investigating a possible murder-suicide after a man and woman are found dead in Washington County.
Plus, a new bill aims to keep young people off social media.
And in sports, Ohio baseball opens a big series with Kent State. Newswatch starts right now. Two people are found dead at home in southern Marietta. Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Authorities are calling it a possible murder-suicide.
The Washington County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death of two individuals found dead in Sand Hill Road in Reno, Ohio. Sheriff Larry Minks says officers received calls from each individual's employers requesting a welfare check after neither had shown up to work the past 2 days. Upon entry, authorities discovered 55-year-old Michael Dixon and 56-year-old Melissa Fowler Dixon. Minks says the investigation is ongoing, but initial clues suggest Dixon shot Fowler Dixon and then turned the gun on himself. According to Ohio University's website, Dixon was employed by the university as an IT network distribution manager. Both bodies have been sent to Morgan County for an autopsy as police continue to gather more information. Police have identified the body removed from the Ohio River earlier this week. The deceased male is identified as 41-year-old Billy Lee Cords from Aberdeen, Ohio. According to a news release from the Boone County Sheriff's Office, the identity was confirmed using fingerprints. Authorities confirm Cords entered the river April 7th from Taylor's Southgate Bridge. The Sheriff's Office suspects there is no foul play. Cords' body was found Monday night at Anderson Ferry in Herrin.
A former West Virginia parole officer is sentenced to more than 7 years in prison for witness tampering. Dave Jones, the former regional director of parole for the West Virginia Division of Corrections, admitted earlier this year to the charges. According to investigators, the 51-year-old deliberately withheld information and lied to state and federal investigators during their investigations of sexual misconduct by a state parole officer whom Jones supervised. Jones also admitted to instructing a witness in the same investigation to lie to investigators and to destroy evidence. The Ohio Supreme Court suspended a Lancaster attorney for seeking an inappropriate relationship with a vulnerable client. In a unanimous decision, the court suspended Andrew Russ from practicing law after Russ violated ethics rules. The court says Russ attempted to have sex with a client. Russ was appointed by the Muskingum County Juvenile Court in 2021 to represent a woman whose newborn daughter tested positive for fentanyl. Via text, Russ told the client he wanted a young girlfriend around the age of his own daughter. Russ admitted to the claims when the disciplinary council said they had copies of the text messages. According to the Ohio Supreme Court, Russ is banned from practicing law for 2 years.
An Ohio House committee could vote as soon as Tuesday on a bill bringing back August elections for special purposes. The House Government Oversight Committee released a revised agenda today, saying on May 2nd, the committee will possibly vote on a Senate bill allowing August elections. The bill recently passed the Ohio Senate 25-8. If passed the House, the bill would restore August elections for certain purposes, just 4 months after the chamber voted to eliminate most of the late summer elections. Opponents of the proposal say the bill is an attempt to stop a reproductive amendment on the ballot in November. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists in Ohio endorsed a reproductive rights amendment on the ballot this fall. The group represents more than 1,500 obstetricians and gynecologists across the state. Immediate past chair Dr. Amy Burkett says the ACOG finds the amendment a, quote, common sense amendment that will restore reproductive rights. Backers of the amendment are gathering signatures now and will need 414,000 valid signatures by July 5th to put the measure before voters in November. Now we're going to throw it over to Emily with a look at our first weather.
Good evening. Athens is currently sitting around 65-degree temperatures. We're currently observing some lightning in the area as well as some thunder. We saw a little bit of rain earlier today that took a break around by the afternoon but started to pick up around 3 p.m. this afternoon and will continue into the evening. The Athens area is currently sitting under a marginal risk as well as a general storm risk area over to the north of us that could mean increased winds as well as some hail in the area. However, that is not likely to occur. You can see this radar over here is really all this rain just really pushed up in the area from Portsmouth, Ironton, up through Athens into the Zanesville, Newark, and Cambridge area, and that really produced a lot of rain earlier today. Quick downpour and some thunderstorms that will continue into the evening. And here on this radar, you can really see that really forming up in that south and continuing up through Ohio. There's a little bit of band right over here that will continue to move up into our area overnight. We are expecting an overnight low of 45 degrees with a 70% chance of showers as those rains continue. We are expecting that to kind of subside as we move into the evening. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Emily. Calling all runners, the Ohio Health Race for a Reason is returning for its 11th year tomorrow. Racers can compete in 6 different categories: triathlon, 5K, mud run, a 3K walk, remote race, and the kids splash and dash. Race for a Reason is the largest charitable race event in southeastern Ohio, raising over $600,000 for local nonprofits since 2012. You can register for those events on racefораreason.org. Another marathon this weekend is set to take off in Nelsonville. The Tunnel to Towers 5K run and walk honors the heroic life and death of Stephen Siller and all first responders who died on 9/11. According to the race's websites, proceeds of the race will go toward providing mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families with young children. The race will begin Sunday at 9 a.m. and you can register for the race at t2t.org.
Attorney General Dave Yost is recognizing a Zanesville student for being a finalist in the National Do the Right Thing program. Organized by the National Campaign to Stop Youth Violence, the Do the Right Thing program asks middle schoolers to discuss how violence impacts them and to share their ideas about reducing violence in their community. One of the finalists is Evan Warner, a student at Zanesville Middle School. Warner wrote about the effects of peer pressure. He will travel with seven other students to Washington, D.C. to represent Ohio at the Do the Right Thing National Conference. West Virginian officials are in Taiwan to officially open the West Virginia-Taiwan office. Senate President Craig Blair joined Secretary of Economic Development Mitch Carmichael, Economic Development Director Mark Garney, and Speaker of the House Roger Henshaw at the Taipei World Trade Center. According to a press release, the office will serve as a hub for promoting the state as a prime location for Taiwanese investment, along with helping West Virginia businesses with exporting goods. The release says the office will make the state more competitive in its mission to attract those new investment opportunities. Senate President Blair pledged to building a strong relationship with Taiwan, and the new office would be a platform to foster growth. Lawmakers are looking to address what some experts are calling a mental health crisis. Plus, more of the southern Atlantic coast is under some level of severe weather threat. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Low pressure currently sitting over our area and low pressure developing over in the central Great Plains region. What that means for us and more when Newswatch returns.
I promised I wouldn't cry.
On Finding Your Roots, journalist Nina Totenberg
It just makes me so curious.
and talk show host Andy Cohen.
I'm scared.
Ancestors who overcame enormous odds.
She got up by the skin of her teeth.
She was a fighter.
Plus,
You gonna tell me who my cousin is now?
Yes. Please turn the page.
You're kidding me.
Yes.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Oh, there's one right next to us.
An ocean giant is disappearing. What's the cause? And what will it take to save them?
Give nature a chance and it'll come right back. That's what we're asking for, is to give the right whale a chance.
Saving the Right Whale on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On iconic America.
That Hollywood sign is the most famous sign in the entire world. Nothing can touch it.
It represents this dream factory.
People can project onto it whatever meaning they want.
It's not too surprising that Hollywood also has a lot of anecdotes and myths about its own origins.
This is the West Coast version of the Statue of Liberty, right? Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
I've recorded many songs of the natural world over the years.
But these songs are far more complicated than we could possibly have imagined. It was the ability to take recorded sound and then turn it into a visual picture that enabled us to analyze and reveal its full complexity.
It really forces us to reconsider what we think of as song.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Welcome back. A new federal bill aims to keep young kids off social media.
Lawmakers are looking to address what mental health advocates and critics of tech platforms say is a mental health crisis. Ivan Rodriguez explains what is in the bill and why some tech accountability advocates say it falls short.
A bipartisan group of senators unveiling legislation this week that would establish 13 as the national minimum age for social media use and create strict standards for verifying a user's age.
Making young people feel the very ways that we as parents and as a society don't want them to feel is built into the business model.
The proposed bill also requires parental consent for users aged 13 to 17 and bans tech platforms from using teens' personal information to target them with content or advertising.
Social media companies have a duty to help keep kids safe and parents informed, or face serious consequences.
Lawmakers say the legislation is in line with guidance from the U.S. Surgeon General.
The skewed and often distorted environment of social media often does a disservice to many of those children.
Senator Richard Blumenthal is working on a separate bill to address the problem and says he has concerns about this version. Tech accountability advocates agree the bill is focused on the wrong issue.
This bill doesn't actually put any responsibility onto the tech companies. Instead, it's putting more responsibility onto parents and young people to kind of self-police.
Nicole Gill with the nonprofit Accountable Tech argues law should incentivize tech companies to redesign their platforms to protect mental health and privacy.
We have an opportunity right now to rethink the way that these platforms work for young people, and we should take it.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The U.S. debt ceiling drama has yet to reach its final act. President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy haven't come to terms on how to raise the financial ceiling. And unless that changes, some analysts say American living standards could be affected. John Lurink reports.
The United States reached its $31.4 trillion spending limit on January 19th. And that's when the battle in the Beltway began.
This power struggle between Democrats and Republicans, and frankly between Republicans and Republicans, could lead to the first default in a major advanced economy since the Great Depression and World War II.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's 320-page Limit, Save, and Grow Act, which passed through the House, raises the debt limit, but trims the budget.
The polls are overwhelmingly showing that they want cuts in spending in order to raise the debt ceiling. We've done the responsible thing, and the president and the Senate need to accept that.
President Joe Biden and most Democratic lawmakers aren't interested.
The discussion on the debt ceiling ought to be agree to raise the debt ceiling, period, end of story. And tell us about when you want to schedule discussions on the budget. They ought to be separate.
If an agreement on the debt ceiling isn't reached by summer, officials say treasuries could tank, interest rates spike, the dollar sinks, and global economies reel.
The banking system, particularly small and medium-sized banks, still have a lot of losses on their books simply because interest rates went up a lot.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the debt ceiling deadline could come as soon as June. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Economists at Goldman Sachs say 10% of the country's economic activity would come to a halt, and many jobs could be lost if a bill is not passed.
American workers are getting paid more, and that could push inflation higher. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics says workers were paid 1.2% more in the first quarter of the year compared to the previous 3 months. It's called the Employment Cost Index, and the Fed watches it closely. When businesses pay people more, they typically pass that cost on to customers, feeding inflation. As a result, economists expect the Fed to raise interest rate by 1/4 point at its meeting next week. Bigger paychecks can mean more spending, especially as inflation is easing up, but there are signs Americans aren't responding with increased spending. The Commerce Department is reporting the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index rose 4.2% in March, down from an upwardly revised 5.1% in last month. Economists say consumer spending adjusted for inflation has fallen for 4 of the past 5 months. The report also says in March, people mostly spent their money on housing expenses and health care.
Good evening. Athens is currently sitting around comfortable 65 degrees. We are observing some lightning and some thunder right now. Winds are currently picking up. They were calm a little bit earlier today, but now they're moving around 6 miles an hour. It's beginning to pick up as this rain continues to move into the area. Athens is currently sitting under a general thunderstorm risk area just to the north of it, as well as a marginal risk area just to the south of us, which means you could see some more increasing wind, some potential hail, however, nothing too severe. Athens today, we saw a 90% chance of showers and a temperature at a high of 68 degrees with a low of 45. This right here is all this rain is moving into our area from Portsmouth, Ironton, Jackson, up through Athens, and up through the Zanesville, Lancaster, and Newark area, moving in from the south, continue to produce those storms, continuing to bring in lightning and rain well into the evening. You can, right along here, you can really see that spiral pattern, almost cyclonic pattern, due to a low pressure system that's currently sitting over our area. This cold front right along here is really driving all this weather to create this cyclonic pattern that's going to stay around in our area. This will continue to move northward, but it will continue to produce rain well into the week. Along here, we have a low pressure system that's producing rain right now, and that's going to impact us later this week. Tonight, we can expect that overnight low to reach around 45 degrees with a 70% chance of showers as rain continues to move into the evening. Tomorrow we'll see those mostly cloudy skies with a temperature at a high of 70 degrees, so not too impacted by that cold front behind us with a low of 49. Those clouds are going to be the remains of the rain we are seeing today. And over tomorrow we'll see that low pressure system continue to move northward. Right along here is that cold front that we saw out in the Great Plains region out west, and we'll continue to see that transport into the Ohio area, producing a lot of rain along with it tomorrow night as well into Sunday night. Here's a lot of rain that it's going to produce right along this cold front, and that's going to continue to stretch out into Iowa, and that's going to continue feeding us well into Monday, Tuesday, and possibly into Wednesday. So here we are Saturday, mostly cloudy skies with the rain we are currently seeing. That's going to leaving us with these clouds. Excuse me, on Sunday we'll see a 70% chance of showers with that temperature start to lower a little bit into 64 degrees. And on Monday, a 70% chance of showers with temperatures really dropping, a 53-degree temperature. That's due to that cold front that's going to move through that region, really dropping those temperatures. Excuse me. On Tuesday, we'll continue to see those temperatures sit around 50 degrees with a low of 37, 70% chance of showers possible, and that's going to continue on into Wednesday. But that's going to drop as the shower percentage is going to drop to 20. But those temperatures will continue to increase as that rain and that system continues to move away from us over the couple days. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Emily. Most of the southern Atlantic coast is under some level of severe weather threat, along with much of Texas. This as parts of the Midwest wait for Mississippi River floodwaters to ease. Laura Aguirre brings us more.
A day after softball-sized hail battered the Florida Panhandle, the same region is grappling with tornado damage Friday. A twister tore through Hosford, west of Tallahassee, Thursday afternoon. No injuries were reported, but plenty of property damage. In Panama City Beach, Florida, the lethal threat there was lightning. 2 men narrowly escaped one strike on a city pier, only to be hit by a second.
They kind of hunkered down. Within about 5 or 10 seconds, the second one hit, and it actually struck one of the men.
That man was last reported to be in critical condition at a Florida hospital. Forecasters are tracking 2 severe storm systems through Friday, with large hail, high winds, and possible tornadoes from South Florida to Virginia and across central Texas. Cities along the Mississippi River from Wisconsin to Minnesota are bracing for even higher floodwaters. The river's crest in many areas, especially parts of Iowa and Illinois, may not hit until next week.
They won't put a flood wall up, thinking that everybody wants to look at the river. Well, we're tired of looking at the river. It's enough.
A train derailment along the river in Ferryville, Wisconsin injured 4 workers Thursday and spilled cargo like lithium-ion batteries and paint.
There is no hazardous materials that we are concerned about for public safety.
The flooding has officials in some towns calling for voluntary evacuations as other communities dig in and keep filling sandbags. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The first tornado watch of the afternoon has already been issued for Central Texas, according to the Storm Prediction Center. You're about to hear less about how prevalent COVID is in your community. That's because the CDC won't know. The agency is ending its COVID-19 community level system. Initiated in February of 2022, it used a color system to indicate levels of COVID infection, but the nation's public health emergency expires on May 11th. After that, health departments will not be required to submit COVID-19 numbers to the CDC. Instead, the agency will rely on cases serious enough to require hospitalization to track the disease. That's how infections like the flu are tracked. COVID cases have been underreported for some time, starting when rapid home tests got more common.
Coming up in sports, Ohio baseball opened its crucial series with Kent State. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
On iconic America.
That Hollywood sign is the most famous sign in the entire world. Nothing can touch it.
It represents this dream factory.
People can project onto it whatever meaning they want.
It's not too surprising that Hollywood also has a lot of anecdotes and myths about its own origins.
This is the West Coast version of the Statue of Liberty, right? Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
ALS causes the degeneration of the neurons that control muscle movement.
We don't quit. That's our motto.
What I do for my wife, I do it because I love her, and no one can do this alone.
My hope is it goes from being a fatal disease to a chronic disease that you can live with.
Matter of Mind, My ALS, Monday, May 1st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
I've recorded many songs of the natural world over the years. But these songs are far more complicated than we could possibly have imagined. It was the ability to take recorded sound and then turn it into a visual picture that enabled us to analyze and reveal its full complexity.
It really forces us to reconsider what we think of as song.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Oh, there's one right next to us.
An ocean giant is disappearing. What's the cause? And what will it take
Launching!
to save them?
Give nature a chance and it'll come right back. That's what we're asking for, is to give the right whale a chance.
Saving the Right Whale on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back, I'm Maria Manessi. Ohio baseball dropped its series opener against Kent State this evening. Ohio utilized 3 different pitchers, but Kent State proved to be too powerful at the plate. Josh Johnson scored 2 runs for the Golden Flashes, including a home run. The Bobcats struggled at the plate as they struck out 11 times and couldn't jumpstart their offense. Gideon Antle was the lone scorer for Ohio with a home run in the top of the 9th. On a broader scale, the theme of the Mid-American Conference baseball is 4. With the season winding down, it's a battle for the top 4 teams in the MAC standings. With 4 weeks remaining, each team has 4 series left to play. With the loss earlier today in the first game of the remaining 4 series, Ohio now holds a 13-6 conference record, and Kent State moves to 14-5. But this was only the first game of the series. Anything can happen and every game matters. Ball State is currently facing off against Bowling Green and also is 13-5 in MAC play. The Cardinals still have Ohio and Kent State on their schedule, but the team to be on the lookout for is Central Michigan, who is red hot. Its win over Miami earlier today makes it 11 straight victories for the Chippewas. They also hold the tiebreaker over Ball State, Ohio, and Kent State. Both Kent State and Ohio will face off for Game 2 of their series tomorrow at 3 p.m. It's a similar story for Ohio softball, who continues to fight for the top spot in the MAC. The Bobcats are coming off a hard-fought series victory over Toledo that was capped off with a dramatic 10-9 victory in extra innings. Ohio now travels to Western Michigan for its last road series of the regular season.
Be on the lookout for pitcher Skip Miller this weekend, who continues to be crucial on the mound for the Bobcats. At the plate, Shelby Wessler stepped up in big moments against the Rockets, and the Bobcats will look for her to make an impact. First pitch of tomorrow's doubleheader is scheduled for 1 p.m.
Thanks, Maria. A stone from Scotland is on a historic journey. That story is still ahead. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
ALS causes the degeneration of the neurons that control muscle movement.
We don't quit. That's our motto.
What I do for my wife, I do it because I love her, and no one can do this alone.
My hope is it goes from being a fatal disease to a chronic disease that you can live with.
Matter of Mind, My ALS, Monday, May 1st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Oh, there's one right next to us.
An ocean giant is disappearing. What's the cause? And what will it take
Launching!
to save them?
Give nature a chance and it'll come right back. That's what we're asking for, is to give the right whale a chance.
Saving the Right Whale on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
I've recorded many songs of the natural world over the years. But these songs are far more complicated than we could possibly have imagined. It was the ability to take recorded sound and then turn it into a visual picture that enabled us to analyze and reveal its full complexity.
It really forces us to reconsider what we think of as song.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On Iconic America.
That Hollywood sign is the most famous sign in the entire world. Nothing can touch it.
It represents this dream factory.
People can project onto it whatever meaning they want. It's not too surprising that Hollywood also has a lot of anecdotes and myths about its own origins.
This is the West Coast version of the Statue of Liberty, right? Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Finally tonight, a stone from Scotland is on a historic journey. The Stone of Destiny left in Edinburgh Castle Friday and is headed to Westminster Abbey. It will be installed in the chair where King Charles will sit for his coronation on May 6th. The Stone of Destiny is a slab of sandstone that weighs more than 300 pounds. It, along with the coronation chair, have been used to crown English monarchs for hundreds of years. The stone's exact origins are unknown, but historians say it was taken from Scotland in 1296 by King Edward I and wasn't returned until 1996.
Athens tonight, we're expecting an overnight low 45 degrees with a 70% chance of showers, as the rain that we saw earlier today will continue to move away from our area. A current low pressure system is sitting over our area, which is really driving all that rain up, and a cold front right behind it, so that's going to drop those temperatures overnight. But out to the Great Plains region, there's a low pressure system and a front over there. That's going to move in over on Sunday, really bringing that rain later this week. But tomorrow we'll see mostly cloudy skies as the rain from today leaves us, leaving cloudy skies with a temperature high of 70 degrees and a low of 49. On Sunday, here's all that rain out west that's really going to move into our area and keep moving in throughout the week. As we can see, Monday, Tuesday have an 80 and 70% chance of showers, and that temperature will continue to increase throughout the week.
Well, at least we are experiencing some warmer weather with all this rain.
For
at least
sure.
It's not cold outside. I'm happy about that.
Definitely not putting away the umbrella anytime soon.
No, unfortunately not, but hopefully later this week it will clear up for us so we're able to enjoy the outdoors.
No kidding. Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Morgan Anderson.
And I'm Juliana Colant. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And Newswatch is taking a bit of a break and we'll be back on May 22nd. But until then, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Life is complicated enough. Why worry about what to do with your extra car? Skip the costs of maintaining it, storing it, insuring it, or renewing registration. Donate it to our station. Interested? Just call this toll-free number or donate online.